young, so that's
Right.
entirely okay. But when I say relatively, it is over a year old.
Oh.
And in that time, I want you to guess how many, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 5 minutes, how many episodes, I'm saying these are very short episodes, as
Right.
Doug described. How many episodes do you think he's knocked out in that year plus at this point?
I'm terrified that it's like 600.
It's 9.
Okay.
So it has 9 reviews, 9 episodes, and Doug thought, this might be one of the ones for me.
What a work ethic this man has
I know.
to bust out that. I mean, that's 45 minutes of content, John.
Yeah, and
wow,
he's able to get out a minute of content every month and a half.
Yeah, I think that's. I don't know how Spreaker is highlighting.
This was recommended to you, Doug, and you thought, okay, I'll give it a shot.
When you click through the website.
In other words,
like
it was
when you go to Spreaker's
it's a
homepage,
curated list,
and you can go to themes. So I went to
Sure.
comedy, and I just kind of scrolled through, and I said, "Oh, I'll try this one." No, I don't know any of them, so I'm just trying things that are completely unknown to me. So that was one, and then I thought, well, I'll try sci-fi scripted podcast.
Okay,
I love sci-fi. I read sci-fi books,
sure,
all the time. I watch probably almost all of the sci-fi shows that make their way to television.
Let's just make this simple. Doug watches all of the sci-fi.
Okay, it's easy.
I may miss one or two, but I try to catch them all. So the first one I tried was called Continuum Force.
Okay.
I watched a sci-fi series called Continuum about people who travel back in time and try and make the future better.
Right, sort of a
same exact premise.
Sound of Thunder, Ray Bradbury. Is that what it's called? The Ray Bradbury short story, Sound of Thunder?
I'm a big Bradbury fan, but I don't know that.
He goes back in time.
Right.
He messes one thing up, and then he keeps jumping back and forth in time, seeing what chain of events occur as he jumps into prehistoric times and then back into the future.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. So not quite that way. Like the TV series, which I did really enjoy.
Yeah.
They were receiving messages from the future about what they needed to correct.
Got it.
And so there was somebody in the future saying, okay, you did this and that changed. This is what happened.
Right.
Now we need to do this type of thing. So I was hoping it was going to be very similar. It was not.
Okay.
The main thing that I couldn't stick with it was because of the computer,
there's an AI that's speaking to them.
Is there a Ziggy of sorts?
Yeah, type of
thing.
From Quantum Leap type of thing. And as I was listening, I kept thinking about John's story of the one where the one bad
the
Apple
white vault
actor who just kept pulling, and every time it just pulled me out. I'm like, oh, this is so fake. Whereas the rest of it, and I get that he's talking to a computer.
Sure,
that was the scene. He's in a spaceship. Something horrific has happened, and he's trying to communicate with home base.
Okay,
but he's only talking to this AI, and it was so badly portrayed that I just couldn't
This is the problem with a lot of the scripted shows. I mean, they don't always get the best voice talent, and it can really destroy it. It was like the Black Tapes, which 3 years ago I tried to listen to.
Which was an interesting show.
It was.
Fell on its face.
I think it was well written. I thought it was nice and creepy, and genuinely would be disturbing every now and then because the narrative was well crafted. But man, some of the voice acting, Doug, boy, talk about pulling you out of it.
And then the last one I tried was called A Strange Case of Starship Iris.
Okay.
It sounds promising.
Sounds fun.
And so here's the thing. I clicked accidentally on the very top, listed episode, which apparently was somewhat into it. And I was listening to it, and I thought, hey, this is pretty good. So I better stop now.
Go to the first episode.
And get through it. Well, I'm not sure how many episodes it took them to get to the pretty good, but it was not the first episode.
Right.
So I'm kind of torn because I'm like, I know it's going to get better.
Right.
But how many bad ones am I going to have to sit through where they develop the characters for you and stuff, and I'm kind of on the fence on that one. The other two I'm out, but on this one I'm on the fence because of having heard that other episode.
I'd say number one, just jump to wherever you think you want to go. We don't have time to just listen to every damn episode. Although my wife is that kind of person where she's like,
I have trouble doing that.
I'm only going to be able to enjoy it if I do everything.
That's how
in
I
it,
am.
even if it means I'm gonna have to struggle through. I like to say that this seems to me like Doug is becoming more and more of a podcast person.
Doug
every day.
I'm going to say Doug is a podcast person.
At this point,
if he sought out three different, was willing to
incredible
experience
growth.
three different podcasts to see if they were any good. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think the next step for me would be to actually have them, favorited and I'm listening every week to
Right.
one specific podcast,
Right.
like
Criminal, if you want to. How Did This Get Made? Criminal. Both
Did This-
great shows.
Yeah, we
I
know
mean, How
you
Did
like
This
How Did
Made?
This Get Made.
And then what? The other one. I'm so bad with names.
Criminal.
No,
which is
it's not Criminal.
We listen to Criminal.
No, I'm saying though the other one that I really liked that was
Right.
the top of my list for 2018 was the the food review.
Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Yes.
Yes.
Doughboys.
Right
I
under
believe
that,
would be it.
Doughboys.
So I mean, I think
I
if I
think
get,
Hello from the Magic Tavern was third. For
Third on the list.
Maybe
Third on the
fourth.
list.
You're
I always
confusing
forget.
it with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
number 2.
I
yeah.
think when I get to that point is when I would probably consider myself a podcast
Sure.
person, as to just right now, really just kind of checking it out.
Sure, just dipping your toes in the water.
Yep.
One addendum. When we were talking about this, it struck a memory in me. It's called The End of the World with Josh Clark. I just want to make sure that was clear. And it
Okay.
is Stuff You Should Know is the other show that he does.
It is stuff you should know.
So,
Okay.
but the other thing that I want to point out, and this
Yeah.
was the most amazing week for the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience. His Monday episode was Dr. Phil, and that was fine. It was, or maybe his Tuesday episode.
is that fine, Brandon?
Oh, Dr. Phil's a hack and he's a bullshit artist, and that's
Right.
fine. Whatever. Who cares? But on Wednesday, he had a 4-hour-long podcast with none other than Alex Jones of InfoWars.
Yeah.
And it was insane.
Right.
That man...
And I'm assuming because Alex Jones, even he knows he's full of shit. This is just to sell his products. That Joe Rogan was pushing back on everything. It was hard hitting. He wasn't letting him getting away with any nonsense.
So obviously that's not going to happen because it's Joe
Right.
Rogan. But the thing is that listening to this podcast, I kind of believe that he believes the things that he's saying because he is a schizophrenic narcissist.
Okay.
But one of my favorite quotes I have ever heard in my entire life is, I don't want to talk about Sandy Hook anymore. I want to talk about human-animal hybrids.
Sure.
And then they launched into a discussion of all the chimeras that are being created by Chinese labs, according to Alex Jones.
Right.
It was insane.
It infuriates me that no one is willing to talk about this Dr. Violet Moreau-esque science program that the Chinese currently have. I don't even know why we're talking about the massacre of children because of readily available firearms in the United States, when we could be talking about the Chinese bat boy.
But I would say if anybody wants to feel like experience what it's like to have a manic episode, if you listen to the Joe Rogan Experience
For 4
with
fucking
Alex
hours
Jones,
of Alex
I listened
Jones.
to an hour and a half, and I could not take any more than that. And I was at work, and so I'm doing database management right now. It's easy to just like plug in a podcast and start filling in databases,
Right.
And it still made my skin crawl, but there is some sort of sick fascination to hearing this man. He is constantly bragging himself up. He's constantly talking about how smart and capable he is. He has a lot of sexual conquest stories that he was telling about him being like a 13-year-old guy and getting all these 17 and 18-year-old women who thought he was older and super hot and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it was amazing in the worst way.
Have we ever seen Alex Jones and Andrew Dice Clay in the same room at the same time? Because that was also true of the Andrew Dice Clay interview.
It was. Alex Jones, I'd say, was even more preposterous
Right.
and
Oh, I'm sure
braggadocious
vastly more.
than Andrew Dice Clay,
And probably
which
less
is surprising.
intentionally funny. 2 fun facts about that episode. It is currently number 1 in the iTunes downloads.
The
for
Joe Rogan
podcasts.
Experience?
Yeah,
of course
with Alex,
it is.
with Alex
With
Jones,
Alex Jones
that
specifically,
episode,
yeah.
episode 1255.
It's incredible.
And it's also called Alex Jones Returns, meaning he has spoken with him.
He
in the
has.
past.
Well, as you learn through the episode, there was a feud between Alex Jones and Joe Rogan, and they have, fortunately for the world, made up.
Thank God they
Thank
have.
God they've made up so that we can hear Alex Jones pontificate for 4 hours about
Right.
absolutely insane
Bucket list
conspiracy
item
theory.
checked for me. I was.
We got to get him on the show, guys. We got to get him on the show.
I would love to have Alex Jones on the show.
How do you feel about anyone giving this man a platform to speak? I mean,
Do you mean giving Joe Rogan a platform or Alex Jones?
No, Alex Jones, obviously.
Okay.
I mean, I think so. It's tough because I don't know if he's intentionally hurting anyone with his inane blather. I don't know if he's purposely trying to, push some sort of.
Does that
insane narrative.
matter if he doesn't change his?
I don't know. Yeah,
his speech and his actions.
Joe Rogan's not a journalist. He's just a guy who's given this mouthpiece.
Who has the #1 podcast?
Right.
And
So he's giving him a bigger platform
But Doug,
than he could ever get.
that's also one of the reasons,
That's why.
because this is this divisive figure that conservatives who believe what he says want to listen to, and liberals want to hate listen to it.
Right, which is 100% what I was doing.
Right.
I was just sitting there seething.
Hey, yours was one more listen that knocked it in that number one spot.
I know. Hey, you know what? Oh, I watched the YouTube video, bootleg. So
okay.
You're welcome, America.
Yeah, so you got to see Alex Jones read near.
I had the database
place.
up, so I didn't see it.
Do you actually need to hear him speak anymore?
I don't.
But you chose to.
But I'm also a person who can compartmentalize and filter out. And so, like, I'll be angry at it for that time period, but I'm also fascinated by it.
I was going to say, there is this morbid fascination there.
Totally.
You've driven past 1,000 auto accidents, but the 1,001st, most people still turn their head really quickly to just see what had happened.
I was late to the recording today because on the other side of the freeway there's an accident, and everybody on our side was still slowing down to try to get a look.
Course.
And then I'm just screaming in my car, get out!
Right. And for those who don't believe in the world that Alex Jones portrays with his speech and his philosophies, they're listening, I'm guessing, for that reason.
Yeah, it's just nonsense.
It's going to be this carnival that they get to look in at.
It's sort of a psychological study. I mean, I can't diagnose him because I'm not a doctor, and also I'm listening to a man talk on a... But, I mean, it does definitely seem like he has some issues that he's dealing with. But so that's what I listened to this week. I feel like we're caught up. I don't know if you guys feel the same.
Oh,
I think we're caught in.
We're caught in. We're caught up.
We're caught in. Thank you, Doug, for saving that trademark. And of course, that's what we did extracurricularly this week, folks. But our homework for the week was listening to the NPR hit, a radio hit long before there was a podcast, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Now, I could tell you all about this podcast, but I'm going to let Brandon mostly take the reins here because I know it's one of his, am I correct? It's a weekly listen of yours.
Yeah. I've been listening for years and years and years. What will happen is I'll get things wrong, John, so you're going to have to jump in. You're my safety net.
Absolutely.
I am swinging on this trapeze.
Right. I've always
of podcast
assumed
reporting.
I was the wind beneath your wings. Safety net's fine, too.
I would sing that song, but we'd probably get sued by Bette Midler because she is very litigious.
Very litigious. Please don't. I want to leave the topic immediately.
You know what? Yes. Never mind. We'll bleep that out. We'll bleep that out.
Lawsuit. So, yeah, it's been on NPR for a while. Political fun.
Yes.
Say.
So it's a NPR news quiz that's focused mainly on the events of the week, and they have every week the same segments and have had for as long as I've been listening to it, where they have a panel of 3 different hosts, our guests, to come in and they quiz them on things that are happening during the course of the week. They also play a game called Bluff the Listener. They also play a game called Not My Job. Usually it's Not My Job. Sometimes it's other things where they have on a celebrity guest. And then, of course, they do a lightning round. And I like it because I think that it's definitely a part of, and I don't know where it fits in the timeline, of the great comedic, newsworthy investigations, sort of a Jon Stewart Daily Show or a John Oliver Last Week Tonight.
If we're going to stay in podcasts, if any of our listeners have ever heard an episode of Love It or Leave It, you've basically heard this structure. It's just been done far longer by Wait, Don't Tell Me. But we've got a panel. It's the news of the day. Everybody on the panel is funny. There are recurrent games that are played. There's weekly news trivia games. And again, even though Love It or Leave It is great, all of those elements existed for years before on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Right. And so the host is a guy named Peter Sagal. And Peter Sagal has been hosting it since the beginning, as far as I know. He started with a voice man like Bill Kurtis. Before he was Carl Castle. Now it's Bill Kurtis. Carl Castle has retired. I don't know if he passed or not. We're not going to bring it up. Let's not talk about it. You know what? Carl Castle, very litigious. Let's not talk about it. Let's just move right on.
I have a theory that he was killed by Bill Kurtis. But
it's possible that, yes, rain blows down upon him to take his job, and he said, Highlander, there can only be one. Do you think that's what happened, John?
Very possibly. I do believe in Highlander.
I know that's...
I have seen all the Highlander movies. And the series, as John knows, I was a big fan of the series.
Oh,
not
Doug
once.
was a big fan.
Not once. I just want to say, though, not once was that line ever uttered the way you just uttered it.
No. I have my own very personal read of that line.
That seemed to be very personal.
It's important to me how quiet and demure it can be.
Doug, you're going to love this. The reason it's so personal to Brandon's a Highlander.
I am currently a Highlander.
Interesting.
Please don't chop off my head.
I'll think about it.
Technically it would be an immortal. The first one's called Highlander because he was a Scottish immortal.
Right, that's true.
You're not a true fan.
I'm not. No, I've never seen the films, and I've watched a handful of episodes. So, but hey, this isn't Highlander talk, guys. This is
Right.
podcast talk.
I'll try to not judge you.
Once again, little insight since you can't see this.